Hi. The genres of role-playing and strategy games can complement each other excellently. In games of this kind, the focus can be shifted in either of the two aforementioned genre directions. It can be either a CRPG with strategic elements sprinkled in or a game with a strategic foundation of any kind, tactical strategy, RTS, or global strategy, complemented by role-playing elements. I want to tell you about the top 30 RPG strategies, dividing the list into two parts of 15 games each. This is the first part. I'll start with Spellforce. It is one of the best fantasy games in the RPG strategy category, for which it's challenging to give a clear genre definition. The main actions of the first part took place in a storyline campaign. You had to manage various characters, level them up, and bring them to perfection. We fought against various evil forces and achieved victory. With the release of Spellforce 2, some changes occurred. The game started to resemble Warcraft in style mixed with typical strategies. Battles with hundreds of units appeared, but RPG elements remained. The third part continued to develop the idea of blending a role-playing game and real-time strategy. A new storyline lasting 30 hours, modern graphics, improved special effects, and expanded world. There are 3 factions to choose from and a rich strategic aspect that takes into account unit types, terrain features, various types of buildings, and allows for real reconnaissance and guerrilla warfare. Disciples Liberation, a game from the Disciples series released in 2021. Like its predecessors, the game is very similar to Heroes of Might and Magic but has a darker fantasy setting. Here, you can expect a new storyline with many factions, where each player's move has far-reaching consequences. An innovation that further aligns Disciples with a role-playing game is the large number of dialogue options that affect the storyline, the development of relationships with various factions and individual characters. Battles take place in a turn-based mode on small hexagonal fields. Might and Magic Heroes 7, the latest part of the series of turn-based strategies with RPG elements, released in 2015. It has both multiplayer and single-player modes, an interesting storyline campaign, attractive 3D graphics, a vast number of factions, hero units, and other in-game content. The gameplay is essentially the same as in previous parts of the series, with some interesting additions. There are many legendary creatures from previous installments, recognizable places, a reworked resource system and skill wheel have been introduced. Songs of Conquest. This game is inspired by the best games in the genre, impresses with its visual design, and immerses you in adventures in a fantasy world. In this RPG strategy, the player embarks on a journey in search of wealth and glory. Squads of heroes with armies roam the entire kingdom, while blacksmiths and wizards work in the fortress capital. If you've played Heroes before, you know what to expect from Songs of Conquest, but that doesn't make the game a simple clone. It has plenty of unique mechanics and captivating scenarios. Phoenix Point. This is a tactical strategy featuring an interesting science fiction setting, turn-based battles, and substantial role-playing elements. Here, we can create unique combat squads, customize their members in detail, and use various tactical approaches during battles taking place on randomly generated maps. An important feature of the game is the first-person aiming system in combat. Thus, Phoenix Point can rightfully be considered not just an RPG strategy, but a hybrid of 3 genres: strategy, role-playing, and shooter. The Banner Saga. The action of this game takes place in a world inspired by Norse mythology. Runes, valiant Valkyries, and giants will be our companions as we progress through the game. In the main storyline, we'll learn about the conflict between humans and their allies, the giants, against the warlike race of Dredge. The game is crafted in a unique graphical style, and the gameplay resembles Shining Force. You'll control a hero and the allied forces accompanying them. One notable feature is the ability to make decisions and lead your warriors down your chosen path. Age of Wonders. A well-known 4X strategy game with a rich world history, techno-magic, and diverse races often in conflict. The latest installment is set in a sci-fi universe, while the previous 4 are in a classic fantasy setting with turn-based battles, city development, and resource management. In all games of the series, There are RPG-style heroes with specific classes and specializations, leading armies and participating in story events. Battle Brothers, a hardcore and brutal tactical strategy game with strong role-playing elements, focusing on managing a mercenary squad. As you travel through a dark fantasy world, you'll take on various contracts from ruling houses, hunt monsters and bandits, aid people, and occasionally clash with rival mercenary bands. The game is quite challenging but offers great satisfaction in handpicking new mercenaries for your squad, equipping and leveling up each individual member, tending to wounded soldiers, feeding the hungry, and freely distributing your earnings, among other things. Armies of Exigo, a fantasy-themed strategy game with RPG elements dedicated to the fierce competition among three civilizations in one of the parallel worlds. The gameplay is reminiscent of the legendary Warcraft 3. It features heroes that can be upgraded and improved and various units that can gain experience. Each faction has its own unique gameplay. Battles are executed as in any strategy game, involving resource gathering and building. The game also has an interesting storyline. Fel's Seal Arbiter's Mark. This game tells a serious story set in a steampunk world. The main character is tasked with maintaining order in her designated territory, and we will lead her squad through more than 40 storyline missions. The game offers over 30 classes, deliberate but tense turn-based battles, a captivating narrative, and a charming visual style. It provides excellent replayability with a variety of different builds and strategies. King Arthur Knight's Tale. This game reimagines the legend of King Arthur, presenting the famous hero, as well as his eternal rival, Mordred, in an entirely new light. You'll take on the role of Mordred, rising from the dead to gather followers and seek revenge against Arthur or what he has become. The game blends a dark fantasy setting with role-playing strategy gameplay, emphasizing character progression and tactical positioning on the battlefield. In addition to exploring poisonous swamps and dark forests, you'll also have to rebuild Camelot, make challenging moral choices, participate in random events, and battle epic mythological creatures. Dawn of War 2. In this game, the epic Warhammer strategy has moved away from the familiar RTS elements with base building and resource gathering, giving way to role-playing mechanics. You once again participate in conflicts as Space Marines, Orcs, Tyranids, or Eldar, but you command only a few squads with varying numbers under the leadership of commanders. All units have distinct weapons and abilities and can use consumables found on the maps. Dragon's Heart. Another well-known RTS with role-playing elements set in the famous Dungeons & Dragons universe. The game features 3 opposing factions, each with unique content and its own style of warfare. Unlike games like Warcraft 3, it has expanded in scale. The map is divided into 2 layers: the surface where battles against the main enemy occur, and the underground where battles with underground creatures take place. There's no base building as such, but there are fortresses that need defending. Heroes are the primary force here, especially in the storyline campaign. Battletech. The setting of the tabletop wargame Battletech was successfully translated into computer games, but it was briefly forgotten for a time. In 2018, the series was successfully revived with the release of a high-quality Battletech game. It's a turn-based strategy game featuring massive walking robots from the distant future. The game also includes significant role-playing elements, which added depth to its gameplay. The main combat force in the game consists of various models of combat robots, and you'll need to assemble a strike team. Tactical battles capture the spirit and mechanics of the original tabletop games, and a lot of attention is paid to the role-playing elements and managing each robot in your squad. Warcraft 3. A legendary strategy game that gave birth to 2 more games, World of Warcraft and Dota. It's a highly successful blend of RPG and real-time strategy, telling the story of the invasion of the world of Azeroth by hordes of demons. The gameplay is classic: gather resources, build structures, recruit units, and try to destroy the enemy base. Warcraft 3 features 4 playable races. Each race has unique buildings, heroes, warriors, and abilities. While it may not seem groundbreaking today, at the time, it was something incredible. That's all. Thank you for watching. The Image Game channel was with you. Have a good day.